It's time for me to do my WEC predictions. My thoughts on this card are that, there are a few bouts that I am incredibly interested in and a few bouts that I just don't care about at all. I personally think it's a fantastic card, but that's because I know a lot of the people that are on the card. I can see why somebody looking at it, seeing a few names, might think, yeah, bit pants. Brandon Vischer is facing Tyler Toner. Now, here's an interesting point. Brandon is 13-0. Perfect record of 13. And he wins by all sorts of methods. There's no one defining area that he's good at. The one issue with his record is that there's absolutely no calibers on it. However, he is fighting Tyler Toner, who is 9-1, and he has a loss to Scott Jorgensen. He also is quite well rounded in how he wins and loses. I think that Brandon Vischer is going to win here. I shall go, I think, for decision, just to be safe, because I don't really know what his qualities are. But I think Brandon Vischer by decision. Takeya Mizugaki, fantastic name, isn't it? With a record of 12-4, wins by decision. He's got 7 of them, but he also loses by decision as well. His wins are over the likes of Jeff Curran, losses to Miguel Torres. He is facing Rani Yahya. Now, Yahya is 15-5. He's got 14 submission wins, but he's a bit adept to losing by any manner at all. He's coming off a loss, and his losses are to the likes of Joseph Benavides and Chase Beebe. Now, I'm not one for MMA maths here, but I kind of count Joseph Benavides and Rani Yahya and Jeff Curran all sort of in the same bracket at that level. Takeya Mizugaki I tend to worry is a little bit above. So my problem is, do I say that Rani Yahya will go the same way as Jeff Curran and lose? Or will I say that he's actually, above that sort of level and will win? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he will win. I'm going to say that I think he will win by submission. I'll go for a bar submission in the second. Chad Mendes is facing Anthony Morrison. Chad Mendes has a perfect record of 6, but he generally tends to win by decision. He has got a name on the list, that's Eric Koch. However, he's facing Anthony Morrison. Now, Anthony Morrison is a sucker punch fighter. He's also somebody who I've actually met in person. You can see that I have an interview with him if you were to scroll back about 6 months in my on my profile. You would see that I saw him when I went to Virginia and visited Combat Sports Centre. That is because he's a member of the Sucker Punch group. He was first seen in WEC when he lost to the former champion. Now, I think that might have coloured a few people's opinions of him, fair enough, but I think I know him better. Chad Mendes does have a perfect record, but his wins are by decision, and he hasn't got many people that he's beaten. I think this is perfect for Anthony Morrison. I'm going to go for Anthony Morrison. I'm going to go by TKO. I'll put it in the third to be nice to Mendes' perfect record. Brad Pickett is facing Demetrius Johnson. Now, Johnson I don't know much about. He's got a perfect record of 5, and that's about all I know. Brad Pickett is 18-4. Both wins and loses by submission. He's on an 8-fight win streak. And he is best known for being English, in fact, and for his time in Cage Rage. I'm going to go for Brad Pickett. I'll go for choke submission in the third there. Alex Karalexis is facing Anthony Pettis. Now, Anthony Pettis is another person that I do like. He's a sucker punch fighter as well. In fact, haven't met him though. In fact, I've named one of my zebra finches after him. Anyway, which you can probably hear. Alex Karalexis is 10-4, wins and loses by TKO, but his record is a bit iffy. Win, loss, loss, win. I'm going to go for Anthony Pettis on this. I'm going to say that, it's going to go the same way as his previous fight. I shall go for TKO stroke knockout in the second. Leonard Garcia is facing Chan Sung Young from Korean Top Team. Didn't know there was such a thing, but there we are. He specialises in submission. He's facing, however, Leonard Garcia. Leonard Garcia I know and like as well. I'm going to support Leonard Garcia here. I think that he will get a TKO. I'll go for it in the second. Anthony Banuelos is facing Scott Jorgensen. Anthony has the better record. He's 17-5. But his wins are mainly by decision. He's got 9 of them. And he loses in all sorts of manners. He is facing Scott Jorgensen, who's 9-3, and again sort of wins and loses in all manners. Now this is quite interesting because Anthony Banuelos and Scott Jorgensen have met before. Scott Jorgensen won by split decision, so it must have been quite close. Banuelos generally loses to calibers like Charlie Valencia and Manny Tapia. However, I'm not quite sure if Scott Jorgensen can be yet classed as a caliber. I'm going to go for Anthony Banuelos. I think I'll go for him by decision as well. I'm going to say that it will then, of course, boil down to a best of 3 after that. So that's what I'm going to say for them. Anthony Njokuani is facing Shane Roller. I know how to pronounce his name because I listened to Shane Roller's blog. Anthony is 12-2, wins by TKO, loses by submission. He does have a win over Bart Palaziewski, but he's lost to almost everybody else in terms of calibre. Donald Cerrone, Ben Henderson being those two. Shane Roller, 7-2, not as good in records. Wins by submission, loses by TKO, so this is striker versus groundsman. He's won over the likes of Marcus Hicks and Danny Castillo, but he too has lost to Benson Henderson. I'll go for Shane Roller by decision. Mike Brown, former champion, 23-5, American Top Team. You know, he's won over the likes of Garcia and Farber. He's lost to the likes of Aldo, Genki Sudo, believe it or not. I'm going to go for Mike Brown here. I'll go for submission. I'll go for choke submission in the third there. Benson Henderson and Donald Cerrone are also having a title rematch here. Benson is 11-1 on a 10-fight win streak. Donald Cerrone is 11-2. So not much between them. See, these ones that I'm not quite convinced on, they're the ones that I can go horribly wrong on. I'll go for Donald Cerrone, I think, on this one, but I'm not quite sure how. And Uriah Faber versus Josie Aldo. What can we say about this? Josie Aldo has inherited the title since Faber's removal with Mike Brown, in fact. And whilst Josie Aldo has done very well, he hasn't faced the sort of people that Uriah Faber has. However, Uriah Faber has not had much success at the moment with title contentions, particularly against Mike Brown. But that is all the problem that he's had. There's no other reason for believing that he's not going to be brilliant. I think this is going to be an absolute war. I'm kind of hoping for Aldo, but I think probably Uriah Faber. So I'll go for Uriah Faber, but I will not be at all disappointed. In fact, I shall hope that I'm wrong here and that Aldo can pull this one off. If he does, then he'll have cemented this legacy, because Uriah doesn't have much problem except with certain people. We've got Tyson Griffin, and you've got Mike Brown, who he's been knocked off and then failed to regain himself. So we'll see. We'll soon see with that one.